What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. There are videos, content that can be made that can fall on deaf ears. It may not even get into the hands of the people that it really needs to get into. So, on this one, I'm asking, especially those of you who follow me, rock with me every day, I'm asking you to share this video with whomever you feel it may apply, because it's not going to necessarily be a generalized video, but more that's very specific. This video is coming out of concern towards, and particularly, young men. Don't matter what race, of course, starting with my young black men, but all races included, because this is a humanity issue, not necessarily a race issue. About a year ago, close to a year ago, I wasn't on YouTube yet. And I heard an interesting statistic that said 40% of the DNA tests that are done, it turns out that the guy is not the father. 40% of the tests that are done, and presumably they thought that the individual was the father. 40% it is not the father. When you have a statistic like that, obviously the obvious point is that, number one, men ain't the only one getting down. I mean, we knew that. We knew that anyway. But a statistic like that proves, especially, I'm talking in the single world, not necessarily just, once you're married, but definitely in the single world, women are getting down. 40%, that's 4 out of 10. And that's just the ones that was tested. That don't include all children. 40% of the ones that's tested, the guy was not the blood father. I want to say, first of all, to these young men, unfortunately, we're living in a wild world. Men are wild, women are wild. Trust nobody. That goes both ways. Trust nobody. And I'm saying this, hopefully speaking as a type of uncle, big brother, because ladies, I want you to listen to this as well. If you know you getting down on the side, and you know that there is a slim possibility that Tyrone is not the dead, get tested before you tell him he's the father. Obviously, most guys will assume that if they're the one sleeping with you, when you say I'm pregnant, they automatically assume, most guys will say, or assume and think that the child is theirs. But if you know that there is a possibility that it is not, you do something different. And I'm not talking about getting rid of the child. But don't tell that man that it is yours until there is a way that you can know for sure. And I'm going to say it this way, because the world we live in is crazy. And it don't even take a person being crazy for this to happen. It could just be a lapse, a moment, just some, you hear some kind of news. Just imagine, and this happens Just imagine a man assumes that the child is his. The child 6, 7, 8 years old. The man, let's just say he's not even in the picture 100% of the time. He comes in, he's in the picture a fourth of the time. He's not an awful father. He's not necessarily an active father. We can even do that one. He's somewhere in between. And then it comes to find out somehow he's not the dad. What do you think is going to happen to him internally? What do you think his emotions and that moment of rage could possibly lead him to do? When all you're going to do as a woman is sit there and look at him like a deer in headlights, wondering what's next. But you have not only have you told this dude, it's the same thing, but listen to how men receive that. You're not only saying the child that you have been there for is not yours. That's one piece. And if he had to pay child support, I mean, you ask me, and I know there's no perfect world, perfect system. We could talk about it in the comments, and maybe somebody could come up with a great idea. But if you're not married and you had to put a guy on child support, he should know 100% that the child is his. So to me, automatically, child support, not married, automatically should cut into a DNA check to make sure. So just imagine if a man pays, follow my example now, 6, 7 years, 9 years, 10 years, 18 years of child support, believing in his heart that little Johnny is his. And then for some reason he find out it's not my daughter, it's not my son, not my child. Now the knowledge that it's not my child and I've been paying all of this, that's one. Then you have to have the acknowledgement that not only is it not my child, but that means that she had to have been cheating on me and letting the man go in raw and release. Now, when you put all those 2 or 3 factors in a man's spirit in a moment, do you think that's a safe environment for you? He better not touch me. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Oh, I wish he would. No, no, no. Let's not do that. Okay, let's cut that out. Cut that out. I'm just asking a question. I ain't talking about how good your karate is. I ain't talking about what he better not do. Let's get past all of that. What do you think happens when he gets that piece of information, 1, 2, 3, in seconds? What do you think his emotions can push him to do in his rage? It don't matter that y'all ain't together no more. In that moment, he believed, that's my child. Okay, that's number one. Number two, to my men, my young men in particular, I know that you may feel it's cool and an ego trip strokes your ego because the ladies is pulling them undies down, letting y'all have y'all way because you got a little swag. What's the word my son say? Riz or something like that. I think it's Riz. Y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Back in my day, say had a little Mac game to him. Remember that song, I'm the Mac Daddy? You had a little Mac game to him, a little talk game. Maybe a little comedian. Maybe you funny. She say, let's do it. And because men have the gift of gab and can convince these women, especially when they're young and impressionable, we already know a lot of the times we can finesse them into doing things without protection. Because in that moment, they're turned on, they're super heavy. You can easily say you ain't got no protection. They could say, well, I ain't got none. Ain't nobody gonna stop the moment, run down to Walgreens, buy some protection, and come back and start all over again. And we already know that's the hook anyway. We ain't had no intention. We want to go in raw. Want that feeling, skin to skin. I don't care if the pack say it feels like it's natural. Feel now we want raw. Go in, skin, give it to them, all of it. Then we feeling so good. So number one, we in control of that situation. Then we feeling so good when it's time to blow the firecracker, and even before, because you don't have to wait all the way to then in order to have a baby. We ain't coming out of it. My young men, if you know you are not in a position to be a father to that child, and you do not want to have a baby with this woman and be connected to her for the rest of y'all life. I know they say 18 years. It's for the rest of y'all life. Hear me well. Here's the question from Professor X. Why go and blow raw? Why? I'm not even talking about disease. I'm talking about the ability that you know you're not going to want to be a father and be connected to this woman for the rest of your life. Right now, her eyes are pretty. Right now, I call it on my channel. I don't say, I say Udi. Right now, her Udi is fat. Her chest, nice and round. Yes. Like she work at a bowling alley in the back. You got to have it. She ready to give it to you. Why does that require a child coming to the world that is not going to be raised properly because you know that you are not in a position mentally to want to be a father to that child? And I'm telling you now, your poor decision is going to have an effect on society when that child is raised in a mediocre way because you know you're not ready to be a father to that child. All because you wanted some Udi. Get the Udi without the baby. Can you get the Udi without the baby? And the only way to prevent the baby, and we ain't talking about going down to the clinic and letting them do what they wanna do, which is to take more lives. We ain't talking about that. We talking about you using your almost adult frame of mind and thinking and making a decision. I'm not going to bring a baby into this world and I'm not ready to be a father. I know the women have a responsibility as well. I do know that. But I also know because I've been there. I've been young before. I've been 16 and 17 and 8. I've been there. I've been young. I know that we can convince women in the heat of the moment that it's all right. Girl, you know I love you. You talk that talk. Her eyes all she ready to go. One touch, she ready to fall over. And they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do whatever you say. They ain't gonna care about it. You promise, I promise. 9 months later, all out the window. That pillow talk gone. So my young men, the world ain't getting no better. Families have been breaking up for a while now. Think twice. Do you really want to continue to feed into a broken system when you have the power just not to get her pregnant? If y'all are talking, one of and you can convince her to go ahead and go get on birth control, you can double that by making sure you stay protected. If she says no, even if she says yes, you can't trust it. You ain't there every day when it's time for her to take that pill. And I know there's other things besides the pill, but be responsible because society is not working for children that are being raised by just single mothers. They're doing the best that they can, but it takes more than that. So I'm speaking to the men right now. I'm speaking to the young men in particular right now. Do your part. If you're not ready To harvest the crop, don't blow your seeds in the yard. That's my message. I was gonna speak to the women on their responsibility. I'll say that one for another video. It's already 15 minutes. Send this to somebody, share it with somebody, share it with your children, teenage, older children, not share it with grown kids. We got to do better. Let's get in the comments and talk about it. That was just on my mind for today. Y'all be blessed.